What's up guys, welcome to another video. We're going to be in the garage for the beginning because it is currently dark out right now. But we got to get some stuff installed on the KLX here. As you guys can probably tell by the title and thumbnail, the KLX is getting some protection today. So we got a full kit here from T-Rex Racing. We got a cage in here, skid plate, and axle sliders. So let's go ahead and open this up. I'm pretty excited. As you guys can tell in my voice, I think it's gonna make the KLX just look a little bit more unique. And let's go ahead and open this up. Looks like this is mounting hardware for the cage. Right here. We have one side to the cage. Here we got one side to the cage. This right here is a replaceable, I guess, slider have you, or the equivalent to a puck on a stunt bike. Now we got what appears to be the skid plate. It is indeed here. Solid construction. Doesn't feel flimsy to the hand, so that's good. Protect the underside of the KLX. So next thing here we have the axle sliders. Let's go ahead and open one of them up. This one right here seems like it's probably for the front. T-Rex Racing is based out of Dallas, Texas. The more you know. And this looks like it's pretty beefy here, so I would assume for the rear. Both of the sliders definitely feel like they're high quality. Definitely gives you that peace of mind when you drop the KLX that it'll probably turn out okay. Oh, and we got a free t-shirt with an order over, I forgot how much, but. So right here you can see the whole kit and all of its contents. Skid plate, both sides of the cage. Some sliders right here have you, and then the axle sliders. So let's go ahead and pull the KLX out and get to the installation of the kit. So let's go ahead and start with, I guess you could call, the simple items. So we have the front slider right here, and all we need to do is take this bolt out right here. So that is a 5mm here, so we're just going to take it off. So you just continue to screw this bolt off, and then the screw comes out. Okay, so on the front axle here, you got to take both of the bolts out here. So you're going to want to hold it with like a wrench or something, and just go ahead and take this screw off, so that way you can go ahead and slide it through to the other side. Alright, so we got the axle in there. Took a little bit of force from the hammer. So now one of the screws that came out was smaller than the other, and it also has this little plastic piece here inside of the slider that goes on the left side of the bike if the bike is facing forward. So you got to come over here and go ahead and put the screw in there, and then you can take your other slider and go ahead and slide it in here. So now we just got to tighten them both up, and that should be it for the front slider. Alright, there you have it. Front slider is now on. Now let's go ahead and do the rear. So as you can see here, this pin is going to have to come out because you cannot put the slider in, obviously, with that in the way. So that should be pretty easy. The pin is out. Now, just got to do the same process as the front here. Go ahead, put each slider on here, and start screwing in the bolts. Alright, sweet. Got the rear axle slider in. So for the next item, we are going to be putting the skid plate on. Here's the diagram for you guys right here. Got the two M6 by 20mm bolts. With those, we have to put our little split lock washers on them here first. And after you put the split lock washer on, you're gonna have to put the flat washer onto it afterwards. First thing we got to do here is go ahead and take off the stock skid plate. Looks like they are probably going to be Kawasaki's 8mm bolts. Right there and there. So the next set of bolts back here, 1 and 2, both 8mm again, so gotta remove them. So these bolts back here in the rear, you're gonna have to reuse, so make sure you save those. So real quick here, here's a stock skid plate, and here is the T-Rex one. Obviously a lot beefier, wider, longer. It's gonna come up here to the front more. This one, you can tell, very light. This one, pretty heavy duty. So, got 4 bolts in total here, reusing the stock ones, and you got your new M6 bolts here. So let's go ahead and put it on. Alright, sweet. The skid plate is on. For those of you wondering, there is a provision in it for the oil drain plug. But as you guys can see, the skid plate obviously comes all the way up here, off to the sides here. Yep, I don't see anything busting through that. So the underside of the motorcycle is now protected. Now the last item on the list is going to be putting on this little cage here. So first thing we're going to need to do here is take out this motor mount bolt right here, and in order to do that, you're gonna have to hold it on the other side with a socket wrench, or however you may please, and then of course go ahead and unscrew it here. Probably gonna need a breaker bar because I haven't taken this motor mount bolt out before, and there's usually quite a good amount of torque on them. So these are 14mm, by the way. For this, you're going to want to make sure that the bit you are using is a hex bit, not the multi-point bit, because you will strip the bolt, most likely. Okay, sorry for the weird transition. If there is one here, had a little bit of an issue. But the next step here is to take the lower engine mounting bolt here and make sure you have a washer and a spacer on it. We're going to come over here to the left side of the bike, and as you can see, I removed the upper mounting bolt here. I believe it was a 17mm. I had to change mine out since I stripped the stock ones, but that top one is out now and the bottom one is out. We are going to take this cage here with the upper mounting bolt with a washer on this side right here, and then we're going to stick the lower one through the bottom bracket of the cage, the washer on the left side. Then we're going to take a spacer right here and slide it on the other side. So now we are good to put the left side cage on the bike. Alright, so the left side is mounted up temporarily there. So as you can see, the lower mounting bolt is protruding over here, so we're going to take the other spacer, go ahead, put that on the other side here. Now we can go ahead and slide the right side of the cage on. As you can see, there's these bolts here. I had to remove the one on the smaller diameter tube here, so that way we can go ahead and slide the cages together. So before you go ahead and install that bolt to join the two together, you do have to loosen the other side to get the hole to line up here. Alright, now the two sides of the cage are joined together, so we can go ahead and tighten the mounting bolts. The nut that they give you is a 17mm, and you have to hold it on the other side with an 8mm Allen key. Alright, now for the bottom. Alright, it's the next day here. As you can see, we got everything on the bike: the skid plate, the cage, the sliders, front and rear. The cage, as you can see here, doesn't protrude too much from the plastics. It doesn't stick out as far as it may look in the pictures. Let's go ahead and finish off the video on the bike, and I guess I can give my initial impressions of it. So I wouldn't expect the bike to ride any differently than it did without the cage and the sliders and whatnot. The only differences I could foresee would probably be ergonomics. The only thing I really notice sometimes for you Bigfoot people out there, that your foot may hit the cage, just the very tip of it. I don't know if you can see that. I'm wearing a size 12 right now, and so relatively big shoes, and I've only hit it once. I suppose it can make a good footrest too for those going on the highway. I wish there was some place around here that was kind of tight squeezed to fit through, because like I said, the cage doesn't seem to protrude too much. From the upper fairings, have you? And once I get to a parking lot here, I'll be able to show you guys the lean angle of when the cage would hit. I don't think you'd have any issues with the cage scraping while you're riding on the street. But honestly, I didn't know if I'd like the look with the cage, but I don't know, I think it just makes the KLX look a little bit more beefy. The skid plate and sliders, and of course we are ready for if the bike goes down, which is a good thing. One thing I can say that is a little bit different is that it appears you do get some of that noise coming from the engine, because the skid plate, it is metal and under the engine, and some of that sound kind of reflects back towards you. Alright, let's go ahead and show you guys real quick the lean angle on the bike to the point where the cage touches the ground. Well, I guess there's really no easy way of going about this, so here's the lean angle. The handlebar and the lever still does touch the ground there, as you guys can see. On the back we have the slider supporting the rear, so therefore the rear fairings are not touching the ground. The peg is touching the ground, as you guys can see, but it's bent back a bit. So that's not really an issue. And so yeah, up front, the weight is being supported by the cage and the handlebars themselves. Let's go ahead and tilt it to the right since I have that big Megabomb on there. So again, we're not touching the Megabomb, we're on the right peg, and for the rear we're on the slider. Up front we are on the handlebars. So bark busters, some bar ends would definitely be good to protect the handlebars, but other than that, is that an S1000? Cool. Anyways, so yeah, it'd be pretty tough to scrape the front sliders. Rear sliders, if you went down, would definitely have some contact. So the cage is definitely sturdy here. Shouldn't be moving around too much. The skid plate as well. And like I said, doesn't really ride any differently. It's definitely a lot of protection for the bike. The only thing left that you would really need to make the KLX bulletproof have you is some bark busters slash handguards or bar ends. Yeah, you can definitely hear some engine noise from that skid plate reflecting back. That'd be an easy fix though, just putting some I guess sound deadening material, some foam. Jake the Garden Snake did that with his FZ07 build. But now that we got this cage here, we can go ahead and practice some more wheelies. It's been a while since I've done that. Kind of freaked myself out a couple of times on those, but I've already made a bunch of videos practicing wheelies, so it'll be something that I'll include a little bit in the video, but should be able to start progressing a little bit more now. And I really haven't attempted any wheelies with the 351 because it definitely has a lot more torque than it did when I was practicing them before. So I think that's going to do it for today's video though. If you're looking for some protection for the KLX, I would definitely recommend this kit. As you guys saw there in the cinematic stuff, the kit doesn't look too bad. Everything looks good. The only thing I was worried about was the cage, and I think the cage looks pretty good, especially with the black plastics I have going on. The cage is painted in sort of a matte black, so that's a good thing. But that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Also share it to your friends and those who may enjoy it. And of course, if you're not subscribed, go down there, hit that subscribe button. We are getting so close to 1,000. We are only about 220 away as I'm making this video. But with all that being said, join the club, and I'll see you in the next one.